Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the daily story of Regis Thomas. Regis was born on June 16, 1970. He was the oldest of 4 children and grew up in Watts. He would later become a member of the Bounty Hunter Bloods. The Bounty Hunter Bloods hailed from the Nickerson Garden Projects, which is one of the largest projects in the area and one of the deadliest areas in the city of Los Angeles. The Bounty Hunter Bloods had been established since the 70s and would later go to war with several gangs and gain a reputation for being one of the most vicious and deadliest gangs in the city. Growing up in his community, it was easy for Regis to become a part of the streets, and he would engage in everything in his community, and by 1990, this had him fighting several cases. Regis would later try to change his life, getting a wife, and having several kids. He would even get a job and start working as a security guard at a liquor store, but the building was later burned down during the 1992 LA riots, resulting in Regis being out of work for a year. Even though Regis was trying to change his ways, the street life still caught up to him. In January of 1992, a man named Carlos was shot to death in the Nickerson Garden housing projects. It was said that Regis got into an altercation with a group of people and ran inside a home and killed Carlos. He killed Carlos in front of several witnesses and even pistol whipped a witness. Several of the witnesses later picked Regis' picture in a photo lineup and later selected him during a live lineup, stating he was Carlos' killer. Several months later, Regis was stopped during a traffic stop and arrested on a warrant for the shooting of Carlos. In September of 1992, one of the witnesses named Bert was locked up with Regis in a holding cell. Regis would threaten Bert and told him if he snitched, he couldn't go back to the projects and his name would be bad. Regis offered Bert $5,000, which he accepted and took back his statement. With the recanted statement, Regis was released. Late at night, on February 22, 1993, Compton police officer Kevin Burrell and reserve officer James McDonald made a traffic stop on a red pickup truck. A witness named Margaretta was driving past the scene and was accompanied by 3 of her kids. Through her windshield of her car, Margaretta observed 2 officers, one black and one white, struggling with a suspect, and just after Margaretta passed the scene, she heard multiple shots fired. Through her rearview mirror, she saw the suspect straddling one of the officers who was lying on the ground. Her son heard shots and looked through the back window and observed the suspect shoot the white officer in the head, and then observed the suspect get into a truck and drive away. Truck passed their car, they seen the suspect, which they would later identify and say it was Regis. Both officers were found laying face down near the police vehicle, and Officer Burrell died of multiple gunshot wounds, one to the arm, one in the face, one in the left foot, and one in the head. Officer McDonald was also shot multiple times, and he was shot in the left armpit, the middle back, the upper back, behind the right ear, and he also died from a wound to his chest. In early March of 1993, Regis was questioned in connection with the shooting of the officers, but was released. He would tell his friend Calvin, "They think I did it, but they can't prove it. Somebody's gonna have to tell on me in order for them to bust me on this." Calvin would later be arrested on the possession of a firearm, and he would start snitching on Regis. Calvin would tell the police that Regis did the shooting of the officers, and he even gave them a location of the gun used in the shooting. Calvin would later get released off snitching and wore a wire for the police and retrieved the murder weapon. A massive manhunt ensued after the officer's death, which led to 5 arrests in other cases, and Regis was captured on April 6, 1993. Regis will be charged with killing both officers and recharged with killing Carlos. With having over 10 witnesses come forth and identify Regis for the murders, by 1995, Regis was sentenced to death and sent to San Quentin to serve his death sentence. Regis is now 53 and never getting out of prison. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.